Okay, today is not going to be a politically. Wow. Today is not going to be politically. Well, I guess it kind of is. A little bit politically. I mean, everything. Everything is politically related in the end. At the beginning of this year, I went plant based. I want to make a distinction though. I did not go vegan. I own leather, I wear leather, and I'm okay with that. I am not against killing animals. I'm against killing animals the way we do it. The reason why I went plant-based actually has nothing to do with the moral conundrum that some people do end up having. And if you're one of those people, I'm okay with that. Like, I am not trying to say that you're wrong. What I'm saying is, I've been wanting to say this for a while, and this is going to be a very controversial thing to say. But promoting veganism is kind of like the people who like bash you over the head with, be vegan, stop killing animals. That's the wrong conversation. That's the wrong conversation. It's not that meat is bad. And in some facts, I think it's, good for us. But I think meat in moderation is better. We eat too much meat. As Americans, we eat too much meat. That is 100% true. We need to eat more plants and less meat. But I don't think we should cut it out completely. But the problem is the way we farm, we do animal husbandry in this, I was almost saying this planet. I mean, yes, that too. But in this country specifically, in the United States, that is the problem. I think for a lot of people. And I think this may not have caused my autoimmune, but it did help my autoimmune by not having meat and dairy in my diet anymore. So I gave those up after watching like 5 documentaries on our way home from England at the beginning of the year. And there was several stories that people said, oh yeah, I had joint pain, I had this problem, and I no longer have those issues. Now, I still have some joint pain, but not nearly the amount of joint pain I had before. So it's a win for me. But I don't think it's because meat is bad and dairy is bad. I think it's because of how we farm our meat. Basically, how we do animal husbandry is bad. We don't care about the animals. The animals, if you know about Tyson farms are awful. They're chicken like warehouses where they have so many chickens packed into this giant warehouse. I mean, it's thousands, and they're given these things so their breasts grow even bigger, and so they can't walk, and it's gross, and they end up pecking each other to death and living in just filth. That's not okay. And that is what needs to change. So, and part of what needs to change in America is how much meat we consume, because we consume way too much meat in this country, and we all know that. I know people that are basically carnivores, but you need plants. You need plants. So, and here's something that complicates this whole vegan argument, right? Plants are also sentient. So if you come from, it's immoral to kill animals, could only kill plants, but plants are sentient as well, according to some new studies on plants. And so now there's plants are sentient to a point, like not like us, but animals are sentient to they're sentient too. What does that mean? Does that mean we can't eat anything? No. That means we can eat both. But the thing is, the thing that should be moral for us is how we do this. So there's ways to farm cows where it's not destructive to the environment. There's farmers in Texas that are, blazing the trail for that. And I applaud them. I applaud them for trying to have a more sustainable way to farm their beef. I applaud any farmer who tries to do more sustainable, more moral farming. You don't want to make animals unhappy, because when you make animals unhappy, they release a lot of hormones into their body, which gets into their meat, and then we end up consuming that. And I think that has been hurting a lot of us for a really long time. I can't prove that it's causing diseases, but I mean, correlation is not causation. I'm just going to say that right now. That's obviously the truth. But just from an anecdotal perspective, if you will, I feel like there's a connection there. And I think that needs to be studied, by actual scientists. I do think it's an important thing that we really need to start thinking about. We really need to push our lawmakers into making sure that we have that's the word I was looking for, ethical farming. We do not want to ruin the earth, to hurt these animals. We need a ethical way to kill them at the end when it is time for their time to become meat. But the thing is, we can treat them in a humane way along the way. I think about, there was I watched a documentary on foie gras, and I think this farmer was in France. Foie gras. I don't know how to say that. Like double thinking this. Anyway, but he talked about how that is normally made. It's geese, and at the end, right before they're going to get their liver, because that's what foie gras is goose liver, they force feed them. Ew. Who would want to be force fed? Like, I feel like that's so barbaric and so unkind to the animal. You know what I mean? So he has a limited batch of foie gras that he offers. Very expensive. He has an olive vineyard, and they love olives. So he just lets them graze the vineyard freely. They eat all the olives. They're happy. They're, living their best life until it's time for that life to end. And I think that's the way it should be. You're just happy until you're, but make sure that when it is the end of the animal's life, unnatural, obviously, that we make sure we do it in such a humane and ethical way. That's the conversation we need to start having. Now, it's hard for us to have those conversations in America because of how much money is funneled into our political system. So when we have, Tyson, there's lobbies for, Tyson and stuff, and big companies like that to have restrictions or not restrictions, but regulations removed. None of these companies want regulations. They just want to do whatever they want. They don't care who it endangers. They don't care if it endangers the animal, if it endangers a worker. They don't care. Corporations are considered people according to Citizens United, but those people don't give a fuck about you or their workers, ever. And we cannot rely on businesses to self-regulate. That's such a huge joke. I love it when they're gonna do an investigation internally. Really? And what's that investigation going to come up? Oh, it's just whatever we're gonna say it is. Fuck you. You always need to have third-party people. A third party. You don't want the government doing it because then they can have a vested interest in it. And you don't want the actual company doing it because they obviously have a vested interest into it. So you need a third party that's not affected by politics, right? That is not allowed to give money to government. not allowed to take money from corporations or anything like that. That would make it a good plus. But the problem is getting money out of politics is almost nearly impossible because there's not enough people, normal people like us, willing to forcefully ask for that. And the thing is, we need to make our voice known. We need to bring it up every chance we get. If there is a chance, if there's a tiny little opening where bringing up money in politics and getting that out of politics opens up, then we need to insert that into that door. Because the more money we can get out of politics, the better the politician we're going to end up getting. We will not get politicians. They're there for just the money. Basically all the Republicans. And most of the Democrats. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the Democrats are also corrupt in that way. Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden. Career politicians tend to be career politicians because it pays well. And it really sucks that we find ourselves in a place that we can't really affect much change because of the money that are in politics. One day, I really hope we can get it out. But, until then, and it's so funny. If you want a perspective from my husband, British, he spent the first 24 years of his life in England. Then he came here. He's 37 now. Yeah, he's going to be 38. I didn't remember that. And it's funny because he's like, the money in politics here is insane. It's insane. It's insane how our healthcare works for him. I've tried to explain it multiple times. I used to work as a medical biller. So I understand insurance, which is good because he would not be able to battle the things I've had to battle with our insurance company because it's so convoluted. And yeah, are there problems with the NHS, which is the National Health System in England? Absolutely. There's absolutely issues. But guess what everyone has? Healthcare. Everyone has healthcare. Every homeless person, they don't have many homeless people though. They do have homeless people, but not nearly the amount I think America has. They're poor, all have healthcare. So it's not like large swaths of people in America that if you get some diseases, you're probably not going to survive them because unless you qualify for state insurance, if your state allows you to qualify for it, if they expanded Medicaid, not everyone has. It's a mess. And, in order to keep your insurance, if you're the sole provider for your family, you have to work while you have cancer. That sucks. So just a little tidbit on that. But it is amazing how different our systems are, right? But back to the whole vegan plant thing. So we got plants that are sentient and we have animals that are sentient. So knowing that, I think that changes the argument a lot, 100% the argument. Now, if you are vegan and that is a lifestyle that you have chosen for yourself, I support you. I support and respect your decision. And I think we need to do more of that. And if someone eats meat, I respect their decision. I don't need you to do the exact same thing I'm doing for me to respect what you're doing. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you're doing something fucked up, then I'm not going to respect that. But obviously, that goes without saying. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. There is actual science out there. I know the Oxford Academy has some published papers on sentience and PubMed has some. So there are studies out there by actual scientists. So check that out on the plants. I think that's really interesting. It makes me talk to my plants more. I know they like carbon dioxide, and I'm trying to actually fill up my house with more plants. Because that back here, that's fake. That's fake ivy. That's not real. But I have real ivy on the outside. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe.